guys, welcome to the Contender Promotions podcast. Today I've got a very special guest on for you, my good friend Mike Kunda, the Almost Italian Stallion, Rocky Balboa, the star of the movie The Pretender. This guy's got some amazing story, guys. I'm very excited to have you on the show, Mike.
Yo, it's so great to hear you guys. How's the weather over there? We're having a little rain here today. How's everything over there?
Well, today's not too bad, man. It's a little bit cold, but it's been better than what it has been. So it's all good. It's all good.
It sounds like it's a good day to talk.
Oh, definitely. So, Mike, I don't know if a few guys remember, it was the last lockdown that we had in England, and I think you guys as well at the same time. We actually done, me and you, Instagram live, didn't we? Video, yeah, and that's how we sort of got to know each other, like reaching out to Mike on social media. I watched the movie, and that's how we got to talk. So, Mike, if you want to tell people just a little bit about yourself.
So I live in Philadelphia, and I run a tour called the Yo Philly Rocky Film Tour. We take people from around the world to all the Rocky filming locations, which there's like 70 or 80 of them. And it just keeps adding. The more Creed movies that come out, the more locations. So it's very good for business. I wrote a book in 2010 called Cue the Rocky Music, which kind of tells a lot of the stories that I tell on the tours in a little deeper detail, kind of about how I became friends with Sylvester Stallone and, you know, what it takes to become a Rocky impersonator. Speaking of being a Rocky impersonator, I won a national lookalike contest in 2006, and I beat out about 1,500 other guys, and that's really what changed my life. Before that, I had worked in corporate America. I was a police officer. I was in construction, painting, a cook, you name it. I did a little bit of everything. That's kind of like the 30,000 view of my life.
Yeah. So Mike, I just want to try and get inside your mind of like what it's like to be you and what it's like to be Rocky, because it must be hard. Is it when people look at you as for anything else other than Rocky, because your life is revolved around being Rocky?
My life is so sad and boring. It's a welcomed delusional obstruction from my own thinking. So it's funny because I drive my wife nuts with it. In my mind, when people find out what I do, I think they have an expectation of me. In other words, if you go to Vegas and you meet a Elvis impersonator, but he's just like grocery shopping, he's not in character. Yeah. And you meet him through a friend of a friend, you're going to size him up and you're going to say, does he have the sideburns like Elvis? Does he have the right hair? Can you see the color dye? Does he sound like Elvis? So I think people are always judging me because that's what we do as humans. It's just a natural thing. So my problem is I don't get to be myself as much as I would like to be at first with people, because I think there's that expectation. And I feel if I let them down, like I'm just talking, this is me. This is everyday me. Yeah. If I talk like this to people, they go, that guy's a bum. He ain't no Rocky impersonator. You know what I mean?
So, Mike, who gets to see the real you? The real you, is it only made? Would you say your wife and your mum and dad get to see the real Mike Kunda?
I would say everybody eventually does, because you can't maintain Rocky 24/7. You'll be sound like a mental patient. Okay, so there's no way to walk around and how you doing? You better do the pledge right there, nice, or I'm gonna break your thumbs. You know what I mean? You can't do that 24/7. So at some point, there is either a mix. Like if I'm in a new situation, I'm a little insecure, I'll put a little bit of Mike and a little bit of Rocky. So it's not overt, but it's just a little bit. It's kind of like a facade I hide behind, like a crutch. Some people use food, gambling, alcohol as a crutch. I use Rocky as a crutch, and that might sound weird, but that's my life. But no, everybody gets to see me, and even my wife sometimes she'll remind me, you need to just be Mike. You know, that's just the way it is.
But yeah, it's cool. So, Mike, when you were younger and you first watched the Rocky movie, like where did you first originally see it? Who were you with? Like, how did you feel after that? And what was the change from just watching the movie to it being a massive part of your life?
February 4th, 1979, I was in my parents' house watching CBS television. And a few days before that, I got into a school fight. I was a very petite child. So people would just kind of schoolyard bullies would pick on me. That's just the way it was back then. So my dad heard about it and he thought, boy, here's a kid who I was into a fantasy world. The Lone Ranger and Zorro, these were my heroes as a kid growing up. So, and I used to emulate that. And my father thought, boy, maybe I could reach out to him via this movie about this boxer. And so he tells me, he goes, this movie about this guy, Rocky, he's a fighter. He's not too good, but he keeps trying. Maybe you could learn something for the schoolyard. So that Sunday night, we sat there. And this is when I was living in my hometown, Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour and 20 minutes north of where I live now. And when those big white letters came across the screen, and there's millions of us that can identify with this very moment. When those big white letters come across the screen, you hear Bill Conti's fanfare for Rocky. Bah, 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 bah. Are you kidding me? Delinquent DNA that had been sleeping in my body, it just started to pulse to the music in my body. It was the first time I was really being inspired. And so that night when I went to bed, I watched the movie, I'm blown away, slack-jawed the whole time. I go to bed that night. But before I go to bed, I took my mother's old grease pencil that she used to write on the tinfoil for leftovers. And I wrote on my gray sweatshirt, Italian Stallion. But I spelt Italian wrong. And I wore it to school the next day. So now I'm this goofy kid who dresses like people from the movies and I can't spell. So it was not necessarily a good initial meeting with Mr. Balboa. But it would grow. Every time I was afraid to try something new, whether it would be to join a sports team or to go on a job interview, it would just always be there. Rocky, it was like having two angels on your shoulder. One says try, one says don't. And Rocky would always tell me, try it. Forget about this other guy. Don't worry about that. It doesn't matter if you fail, because that's one of the key ingredients why I think Rocky is so beloved to this day. And I'm talking the original. He loses. You see, he doesn't win because most of us don't win in life. Most of us 100%. Get either screwed over or we maintain. But when you guys think about it, how many of us become CEOs of a Fortune 500 company? How many become senators or the biggest extremes in a career? It just doesn't happen. Most of us hit mid-level. And Rocky did that. And that's okay. He didn't win, but it was a personal victory. And I think the more personal victories we all have, that's what I think carries us. And that's why I've identified so much with Rocky.
Yeah, it is. That's one thing I do like about you, Mike. I know I've said it before. I like it that you're yourself, and you've gone after your dream. Like some people might think it's crazy. Some people love it. So me personally, I love what you're doing. And I remember that when the first time I seen you, it wasn't even the Contender movie. It was it was. I heard about the Your Philly tour. And I was about to book it. I was supposed to be going this year for my birthday, for my 40th. Obviously, COVID messed up. I mentioned this last time here. I actually seen the Contender. Sylvester Stallone actually shared it. So the real Sylvester Stallone shared it on his thing. It was on his Instagram, and I'd seen it. And the Contender, I was like, what's all this? And I actually thought it was something to do with Sylvester Stallone. That was a new movie. And then I'd seen it, and then I'd watched the trailer because he'd shared the trailer of it. And that morning, I was up really early. I think it was about 5 a.m., like our time. And my wife was going to work. She's a nurse, so she was up early. And I just remember just thinking, I need to watch it now. I was thinking, I'll wait till later. And I was tired, but I thought, I want to watch it because I'm a huge Rocky fan. Everyone that knows me, I'm a huge Rocky fan. That picture, actually, Mike, you've got in the background, you can see the Rocky one. You can see the one I've got in my background here. The painting one.
Yeah.
The Rocky painting. It's behind the court with the tiger.
Yeah, that's my friend John Rivoli.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you this. Let me fix my camera here. You can see I have this one right here.
Epic photo, that one.
This one is a pretty phenomenal painting, because it's not so much that I'm not. Rocky IV is okay. I don't hate Rocky IV, but it's not my favorite. But I love this particular picture because Rocky is us and Drago is life. And every once in a while we get lucky and we knock life out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you could see I definitely have a lot of paintings from my friend here that he's done for me over the years.
Was that your friend that painted that one? Rocky and Drago,
Yeah. John Rivoli. You can find his art at Icons and Art. I would suggest anybody listening check it out, because he probably is the premier Rocky artist, in my opinion. Nobody paints better than him.
Yeah, but going back to that, Mike, as well. Yeah, so when I watched The Pretender, the movie, first I was like, oh, this guy thinks he's Rocky, and then I was watching the movie and I was like, no, he's actually a cool guy. And I liked you straight away from it because you were being yourself, but you were also, I think, I reckon you're giving a lot of people, can't say the word, but I think when you do these Rocky tours, I think people who come to do them must love it, because if you're a huge Rocky fan and you're the nearest thing they can get to being Rocky, it's like it makes the experience of Rocky and your Philly tour like a whole, doesn't it? So it makes it huge, like for an experience for people.
Thank you. That was my deepest hope when I came up with this idea to do these Rocky tours. I didn't think, you don't know how it's going to go. So, but it slowly. See, there's no book on how to do a Rocky tour, so you have to figure it out as you go. And so I did, and yeah, I do a pretty good job with it. I mean, I'm very confident. I'd put my tour up against any Rocky tour out there. But the thing I always wanted was, you see, for me, I connect spiritually with the character of Rocky from the first movie, because Rocky was that lovable loser. He wasn't a loser. He was just okay with where he was in life. He accepted his lot in life. Not that he didn't want better, but at 30 he was past his prime, or so he thought. And so, I felt like that for a long time. And then when this idea started with the tours, I thought, well, geez, how could I make it so people would want to take their hard-earned cash and entrust me with the safety of their family? How can I do this? And slowly but surely we did it. And it's a bucket list thing for a great deal of people. And I don't know how close I am to a Sylvester Stallone without Sylvester Stallone being here, but I think I am a bit of an ambassador to Rocky Land. I think the stories that Sylvester has shared with me, I pass those stories on, I think, in an interesting way, where people, the 3.5 hours or 4 hours, it depends on traffic, that the tour lasts, people cannot believe it's gone in the blink of an eye. It's gone.
So no, the tours, Mike, like, are the tours all the same? Like, when you do the tour, is it the same? Do you start with like a set location of where you're going to go, like to Rocky's house, to the Mickey's gym, to where the ice ring was, or whatever? Like, how do you do the tour? Like, is there certain ones?
That's an interesting question, because I have the main route that I've been doing this route for 10, 12 years. And as new movies come out, we add new locations. But here's the funny thing. Every tour is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have dozens and dozens and dozens of stories and hundreds of facts that I share. But not all the same stories are told on the tours, because it depends on the person. In other words, if I get somebody in the car who is really fired up, let's say Rocky IV and Rocky V, that's their favorite. We're because there's so many things, they would prefer to more see that. And I try to work this out ahead of time. Most people want to see as much as they can. So I have a standard tour track that I follow. And in the middle of a tour, if somebody says, oh my God, you know what? I love Rocky V. I want to see the schoolyard where Rocky Jr. gets in the
fence.
Yeah, exactly. And now normally I won't go there because most people that take the tour, they don't particularly care to see the school because they aren't fans of Rocky V. That's okay. Yeah. There's 20 other locations to take the place of that one. So it's also the energy of the person that's with me in the car. Yeah. Some people are fired up out of the gate. They won't stop talking, right? And they're asking questions, and I can't tell a lot of my stories because they're asking so many questions. And that's good too. They walk away loving the tour. There's other people who ask a few questions or they're quiet. And I just go. Yeah. So that kind of give you an overview.
What sort of locations are around no more now? No, like obviously I know Mickey Jim's still there, but it's just a building now, is it? It must be derelict, is it?
Yeah. I know the guy, Chris Knowles. I know the guy who owns it. He's a construction guy.
Have you been inside of it? Have you been inside before?
Yes, I have.
What is it? Was it actually a gym inside, or was that a different location?
It was never a gym. The gym they used was a Main Street Gym in downtown Los Angeles. That's gone. Yeah. That burnt down after Rocky III. The interior is 3 floors. It's down to the studs now. It really is just a shell of a building.
Would that not even be big enough for a gym, Mike? Really? Would the gym, like on the movie, the Mickey's Gym, that building, the original build, would that not even be big enough inside for a gym, like to the gym you see in the Rocky movie?
Is it comparable to how the building is set up to the gym in California?
Yes, yeah.
It could be. I suppose it could be. Again, it's got a flat iron look to it, and it's probably a little smaller than what people might be expecting when they come up to it. But it could very well. The windows. Oh, I think I'm frozen. Oh, there I am. Did I freeze on you?
No, not me, bro.
Okay, so the windows of Mickey's Gym, they were taller, rectangular. They're nearly identical on the actual building in Philadelphia. Yeah. So in a way, it does line up kind of good.
Yeah, so Mike, a little question I want to ask you before we bounce onto something else. I want to know who you think would win in a fight out of Mike Tyson and Rocky if they were both in the prime.
Rocky, sure.
Rocky. How and why?
I just think Rocky, to me, Tyson's proven to have not as good of a chin as maybe we would have thought earlier on in Tyson's career. Tyson rarely went the distance. He never went the distance. He was too busy knocking bums out. Yeah. So Tyson was never tested really early on beyond 5-6 rounds. But as he got on and he became champion, of course, things happened. We saw Mike Tyson was quite beatable. Yeah. Now we're talking in their prime, and the only thing I can say is that Tyson was phenomenal. He had the speed and the strength. Rocky had the strength and the durability. I would take strength and durability over speed and strength. That's just my take on it. But I don't know much about boxing.
Who would you think in the Rocky movie that is most like Mike Tyson? Would you say Clubber Lang? Is that
I've always said that. I always thought Clubber Lang was Mike Tyson prototype. A little flashier than Tyson, but definitely Clubber Lang.
Because Tyson did get a part in one of the Rocky movies, didn't he? I was surprised he never got a main part, to be honest, because was it Antonio Tarver, the boxer that got the part, was it?
Did you know who that was originally written for? Mason Dixon?
No.
Roy Jones Jr.
Was it?
Roy Jones refused. Roy Jones Jr. refused to call Stallone back. Stallone tried calling him 20 times. Jones never called him back. And Sly is like, what the hell, man? I mean, tell me you don't want to do it. Why are you ducking my calls? Just never call back. I never liked Roy Jones Jr. I never thought he was all that great, and I hope Tyson decapitates him, to be honest with you.
So is that who you think's going to win that fight, Tyson?
It's such a weird thing because I read somewhere they're going to be using headgear or something.
I don't think they're going to be using headgear. Not that I haven't read that.
I read that, and I read that they said that they're not going to be really trying to knock each other out.
It's like Mike Tyson, even in his sparring, I dare say, he's trying to knock people out. So when Mike Tyson gets in that, I think there's a massive, like, his alter ego comes out, doesn't it? He wants to prove he's the man. And I think with Mike Tyson, it's going to be hard for him not to hold back.
I mean, look, we saw how out of shape Tyson got, blew up over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Brings himself back into shape. We've seen the training videos recently of him. I mean, I'm not saying Roy Jones can't beat him. Roy Jones Jr. was a great fighter, no doubt about it. I never thought he was as great as other people thought he was, but he was a great fighter. I always thought Roy Jones Jr. was underweight to fight Tyson. I thought Tyson outweighed him by about 30 pounds, 40 pounds.
Yeah, well, they were different weights, weren't they? But I think with the both getting older, I still think Tyson's a lot heavier than Jones. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight, and I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
So, Mike, have you ever got into a altercation or like a fight yourself with people thinking you're Rocky, or people thinking that you think you can fight because you are Rocky?
No, not as an adult. As an adult, I use a tactic called evade and run. No, I don't. I go out of my way to not put myself in those situations.
Yeah.
It could happen. Like when I do Rocky gigs where I get hired to dress up like Rocky, I'll show up at a convention in Philadelphia where there will be 6,000-7,000 people at the convention center. And my job is to go up on stage, welcome them to Philly, and then walk around the room for an hour. And they're drunk. Everybody's drinking. It's an open bar. And inevitably somebody comes up to you and goes, "Oh, I think you're pretty tough." I go, "No, I ain't fighting them. I'm retired," And you get your way out of it. You use self-deprecation or whatever. But when I was younger, different story. And I didn't have any of the Rocky thing going on. So that was interesting.
What did your school friends think when you were like, after you watched Rocky? Then you must have changed your personality a lot by when that happened. How did they react to that?
See, I was always a square peg, round hole guy. I never really fit in. So I had a couple of acquaintances and I had maybe one or two friends, but I just never fit in. And I didn't get along with them and they didn't get along with me. So when I would wear the Rocky hat and the leather coat, my grandfather gave it to me as a kid because he knew I liked to dress up. So he gave me his old black hat and coat, and I would wear that around high school. I was just a weird kid and nobody wanted to be near me. So I didn't have a major issue with it. Like once I would 16, 17, 15, 16, 17, people started leaving me alone. But earlier before that, they weren't maybe so kind. You get stuck in a locker. They just jam you in a locker and say, "See you."
Mike, there's something I've been wanting to ask you anyway myself. I was going to message you this before I decided to get you on the podcast, just to see how much you know about this, because I'm very curious to watch this back, and I dare say you will be. And if you're a Rocky fan, everybody's going to want to watch this re-edit. So obviously, we all know Sylvester Stallone re-edited the Rocky IV movie. He'd added a few things and he took a few things out. So the thing he took out, me and you talked about last time, was the Rocky robot. And apparently that's not going to be in the movie, which I don't know if I like that part in the movie. I don't know how you feel about that. It's going to be strange watching it with that part not in.
Well, for some people, it'll be strange. I'll have no problem with it. I'm very conflicted with Rocky IV. When I was 18, I loved it. The older I got, the less I liked it.
Yeah.
I can't say I hate Rocky IV, but to me, it's the least like Rocky. For me, Rocky is the fedora, leather jacket, and and walking the streets of Philadelphia. That's Rocky to me. Rocky IV just it captured me in a different way. I think Sylvester said it best when he wrote, it's going to be a more soulful Rocky. And I think he's going to make it a little more serious, not so lighthearted. And I want to use the word here, goofy, but I don't mean that negatively. Like the robot was goofy. Like it was just goofy. I think they're going to do less in your face humor. And like in Rocky 1, there's no humor in Rocky 1, but the humor is how Rocky conducts himself, with the finger, gong, still works. When he tries to clean up his pigsty garbage can of an apartment to have Adrian sit on what's probably the worst couch in the history of couches. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
The windows, there's duct tape holding the glass in the window.
In the window, yeah.
That's funny to me. Okay, that's funny. But Rocky IV, I'm excited to see the re-edit. I'm really, really excited. Sly and I have messaged back and forth about it, and it's going to be incredible. I think people are going to love it.
What can we see? What do you think we can see in this new movie? He has dropped a couple of teasers himself, hasn't he? He has dropped a couple on Instagram. Potentially what could be happening. Do you reckon the fight scene between Apollo Creed and Ivan Drago, do you think there's going to be any change in that fight at all?
There's going to be a change in that. He told me he's upping the montages. He said Rocky IV are the greatest montages he's ever done in his film career up until now. And he said, we're taking it to another level. He told me that last week, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. What about the main fight? Surely, obviously, the main fight, that's going to change, I think, massively, the look of that fight. Because I think, from what I could gather before, he's going to make it more realistic. Yeah,
I think so. I'm interested if he's going to, I don't know how much you know about the sound effects in Rocky IV, but they used broken glass, metal chains, hitting a 20-pound side of beef. They used fireworks. They used shotgun blasts for the sound effect of the punching. And although I just watched Rocky IV about 2 weeks ago. My wife and I sat down and watched it, and we loved it. It's the closest thing to a DeLorean I have to go back to 1985.
Yeah,
I love Rocky IV for what it is. But I also would like to see a version of Rocky IV that's more in line with Rocky I and Rocky II. That's just, that's how I am when it comes to Rocky.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what he comes up with. Definitely. How can you see this? Is it going to be on the cinema? Is it going to be on like Netflix Prime, or is it just going to be to buy?
Flies under the impression it's going to be released in the studios. Or the movie studios. But again, that's contingent on COVID. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Mike, another thing as well. Who do you think, if with the Rocky movies, if they were ever going to make another movie, which character would you think in the Rocky movies they could make like a movie from, including sequels? Which character of all the other Rocky characters?
Mickey. They need a friend of mine, Carl Kirshner, wrote a brilliant script called Angel on My Shoulder. And I think he changed the name of it to Mickey or Mighty Mick. I'm not sure what he rechanged the name. Anyways, this script, I've read it about 70 times.
Yeah.
This may be one of the greatest scripts I've ever read because there's no Sylvester Stallone Rocky in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it a series or a movie? Is he making? What does he want? Is the script done as a movie script or a series script?
No. It's a movie.
A movie.
It's a movie script. But where could it go? It could go Netflix. It could go Hulu, a streaming service somewhere. So, but the problem is, the studio doesn't want to do. If it doesn't come from the studio or Sylvester Stallone, they are not going to touch a Rocky script because. People are going to say, once they read it, then they're going to say, oh, you took my idea. Now we're going to sue you because some guy said he wrote the Creed script and Ryan Coogler and United Artists got sued over the original Creed. It was all so silly and ridiculous. But at any rate, they're gun shy about this. So who knows?
Does Sylvester Stallone not know about this script idea? Because you'd think someone like him who got a massive shot himself with Rocky, you think someone like him would want to watch it, like read it and read over and see what potentially could come of it.
The script, I don't know that he has a copy of it. Like I said, I think he's a little gun shy about getting sued by having the Mickey character. And let's say Sly develops. So maybe there's something already in development about Mickey that we don't know about. Yeah. And now somebody reads Carl's script and then they start it and then Carl sues them. I don't think Carl would do that. Carl is in the Hollywood business. He works with Steven Spielberg. He's out there. But getting a Rocky script to Sylvester Stallone is not as easy as it sounds. Even with the limited attention of his that I do get, it's hard for me to say something like that. And, you know, what could you do? It's a huge opportunity being missed out on. This script is so heartfelt. It is so beautiful. The bulk of the script comes from Mickey. When Mickey goes to Rocky's apartment and Mickey tells a little bit about his life. And, of course, that's the great scene where the place stinks, you stink, this whole place stinks. Yeah. Okay, so all of that, everything Mickey says there is in this script. It's broken down and spread out over 120 pages or whatever it is.
Sounds interesting.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I hope so.
And the ending is beautiful. The ending, I mean, it's exactly what you want.
Yeah, hopefully something comes. I'm going to message you more on that myself, Mike, because I'm interested in that. But Mike, what was the hardest? Like, obviously, you got tons of Rocky memorabilia, and what was the hardest thing for you to get hold of, or also so what was the hardest thing for you to get hold of, and what was the thing you wanted the most?
So the thing I want the most is the original Rocky hat. That if it wasn't for that hat changed my life. That hat and the leather jacket. Both of those I'd want. The leather jacket is so a guy, Randy, I forget his last name, but his first name is Randy. When Sly sold all of his stuff back in 2015, Randy bought a great deal of it. And so he has the original Rocky jacket. Sly still has the original Navy hat that he found in Philadelphia that he wore in Rocky 1 and 2. That would be my dream to carry the torch of Rocky forward. But that's never going to happen. So in lieu of that, I grabbed a few things off the shelf that took me 40 years to find. One, I don't know if you've ever seen this. Do you know what that is?
Never seen that.
This is the book that Rocky reads to Adrian when she's in the coma in Rocky 2.
Yeah, the bedside, yeah.
Okay. Do you ever remember this?
No, was that the one for sale when he was at his sale in the gym? I think it was Rocky 3.
No, this is from Rocky 2. Yeah. Do you remember when Rocky's upstairs talking to Adrian and he goes, I think I'm becoming a nobody again. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Okay. At the same time, we see Apollo on TV dogging Rocky. And Mickey he's got this very cup in his hand and he's dipping soup crackers. And then when Creed starts harassing Rocky, Mickey goes, lousy bum, and he throws the soup cup, and then he goes to Rock. Okay,
That's the
soup cup. Yeah. And the last thing that took me an incredibly long time to find.
The alarm clock.
Rocky's alarm clock, where the bell goes off, he's got to go running. This to me is just as vintage and as ancient as you could get. And it's a West Clocks, WESTCLOX, Big Ben. That's the name of the clock.
And how hard are they to get hold of? Just say me, I wanted to buy that now. Would it be like trying to find needle in a haystack?
So I'll tell you something. Here's the weird thing. For decades, you couldn't find any of these items. Yeah. Over the last 3-4 years, they've become a little more readily available on like eBay or fan sites. And if you find a collector, I couldn't afford it back in the day because it was too much money. But now I have a couple extra dollars, and you might find a collector who doesn't really know the value of it to a person like me. So where they could get $500 for that clock, maybe they're only getting $60 off of me. And it's a steal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But Mike, also, what I was going to say, so when everybody would look at you and think you're Rocky just walking down the street. Is that how it is when you're walking down? Do a lot of people stop you and say, you look like Rocky?
You know, what's the definition of a lot? Once in a while, when I'm dressed with the tours, all the time. I get firemen, police, cable installers, garbage men. They literally pull their cop cars over or fire trucks. They jump out. They want to get a picture. It's the goofiest thing in the world. Yeah. And here's the funniest thing. And you better have a good ego and you better have thick skin, because if you don't, you get crushed. So for a fleeting moment, they see with the hat and the leather jacket and they think, holy Jesus, Sylvester Stallone is in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. He's been doing these movies again. Yeah, okay. But they get out there 30 feet away and they're like, oh my God. And then they're 20 feet away and they're like, and then they're 10 feet.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you ain't nothing. But then they start hearing me talking, and when I'm in Rocky mode and so on, they like, oh, dude, I got to get a picture. So it's kind of fun.
So Mike, has there ever been like days you wish you never looked like Rocky, and times in your life where you wish you never took this path of being Rocky? You know what I mean? Never. That's awesome.
It's been nothing but a blessing for me. And see, a lot of people, the one thing I always like trying to bring this up if I can when talking with people. The one thing people always say is that it's been an obsession for me. And I hate that word obsession. Because when I think of the word obsession, I think of really negative things, like a boyfriend who's obsessed with the girlfriend and harasses her, or he's obsessed with gambling or drinking or whatever. For me, Rocky's given me a life. Rocky's given me confidence. It's given me a beautiful home. It's given me a career that I can reach out and interact with these Rocky fans, not from my town or my state or my country, but around the world. And to be able to share these beautiful stories that Sly shares with me, to listen to people tell me their inspiration, why Rocky inspires them. Yeah. There are many times I'm filled with tears when people talk to me. I'm a very emotional guy. I feel that deep connection that they feel. So for me, it's a passion. It is not an obsession. And I will defend that till the day I die.
Awesome. Mike, what did Sylvester Stallone think of you when he met you? Like, how did he actually get to know you? Did he know you were doing the tours? Was it only when you'd done the Contender movie? Like, how did he get to know you, and how did he feel about what you were doing? So
Frank Stallone told me, this years back, that when he'd go to his brother's house for football to watch on Sunday, they'd kill time. and he'd tell his brother, hey, Sly, you got to see this guy on YouTube. He's got these Rocky videos. Whoa, okay, took a look at it. Then a series of bizarre events happened. When I won the national lookalike contest, Stallone was in Philadelphia then, and he saw that happen.
Yeah.
Then I spent time with him on the set of Rocky Balboa and the Creed movies, and we would start to talk. And then we began to have mutual friends, like serious mutual friends who collaborate with Sylvester Stallone. The one mutual friend would talk to Sylvester about me. He goes, you know this guy? He goes, yeah, the guy with the tours and all that. And so now it's building. Even though we met a few times, I was just a fan, right?
Yeah.
Then in 2018, I got invited. I do a lot of charity work for the city of Philadelphia. And the mayor invited me to show up to welcome, as Rocky, to welcome Sly back to Philadelphia for Creed 2. Yeah. And Sly, I just posted this video on Instagram. Sly comes over, he sees me all dressed up as Rocky, and so we're punching and we're doing a whole bunch of stuff. A couple of days later, Sly comes across a picture of that moment of him punching me in the face standing in front of the Rocky statue. So he puts it on Instagram and he endorses me and my tours. Then a week later, I'm on the set of Creed 2 and I thank him and we start talking about that moment. And he said to me, Mike, what you're doing is brilliant. I swear to God, this is his words, not mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, you got to tell me more. So I gave him the 30-second speech of how the tours happen. And he goes, I never would have thought of a Rocky tour in 100 years. He goes, that's amazing. And then I began to share these funny stories with him. And I had him cracking up. And so now we're trading stories for the better part of 45 minutes. And part of that was filmed. And that's what you see at the end of The Pretender. And when I was telling him about The Pretender, he said, Mike, if you want to use this, go right ahead. He goes, no worries on my part. He goes, I'm thrilled to be a part of it. And I asked him, I said, Sly, I said, I am so grateful that you endorsed the tour. I'm so very grateful. I said, but why? So many people I get very emotional just thinking about it right now. Yeah. So many people must come to you. Why me? And he said, Mike, he goes, two things. He goes, you're like an ambassador to Rocky Land. And two, he goes, I'm not going to live forever. And he goes, when I die, he goes, I like knowing you're out there keeping Rocky alive. I go, whoa, whoa. So, yeah, he likes what I do.
Mike, how did it come about? Like, I know you've obviously done your tours and you were being Rocky at gigs, whatever. Like, how did the Pretender movie come about? Was it something you wanted to do, or did somebody like approach you?
No, my ego is entirely too tiny for me to ever think anybody will want to see a documentary about me. Yeah. During Rocky Balboa, I was up in Kensington near Little Marie's house, and I had been waiting on the corner for about 10 hours in the freezing January cold. And there was another gentleman there. He was from Chicago. His name was Jim Toscano. And Jim was a young filmmaker. And we just connected our passion for this character. And he started following me on social media and whatever. And he said, Mike, I've always wanted to do a Rocky fan project. Would you be willing? Maybe we'll come down to Philly. He goes, it'll just be 10 minutes. We'll just film for the day. We'll cut it together and that'll be it. Oh, yeah, sure. No problem. Well, when he came down and he started speaking to people about me, and I started filling him in on the journey I'd been on, he was like, whoa, this is something more. He goes, I think we should do a feature documentary, like at least an hour on this. And it took about 5 years, and that's how it came together. I didn't have the cojones to ask someone to do that because I'm not that guy. I'm just happy to do my tours and leave me alone, and that's fine.
And how popular has it been since it came out? The movie, has it been?
Very popular. It's funny because you don't understand why, like, some people hate it. And I shouldn't read things that people send, but I think, if you read the nice things people say, I suppose you should read some of the negative things, to counterbalance it. And I don't do this anymore, but I wrote back a couple of people and I go, why do you hate me so bad? not like I wasn't like begging them to like, it wasn't that. I was just, I really was trying to understand. So many people get it, but you didn't. And they just said, you look pathetic. And I go, okay. I suppose if you come from a certain mindset, I suppose I could see how I would look pathetic to someone, okay. And then I was always like, then I was just a jerk for a second. And then I would always end the email with, well, maybe you could send me the link to your documentary about your life. And I just get an F you back, and that was it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone has an opinion on everything, don't they? So
don't they?
You can't change what other people think. And honestly, mate, I think you're doing a great thing, and I love what you're doing. And I will be definitely coming to do the Your Philly tour for sure.
I hope
100%. So how does your wife feel? How does your wife feel being married to the Rocky?
This is a lot of work. All this is a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
On the surface, it's fun. But my problem is that I never shut it off. I'm always thinking how I can improve either myself, the tour, my gigs, my collection, my writing. It's very rare in my life that I don't relate something back to Rocky in every single conversation. Now, I've gotten better about it. And my wife allows me a great deal of leeway when it comes to all of this.
Yeah.
She does. But she does it because she has seen the positive effects for me, us, and for what I can help other people see in life. And she sees that there's something unique to it. But at the same time, when she comes home from work, if Rocky's playing on TV, she'll be like, yeah, could we watch like a Julia Roberts movie or Michelle Pfeiffer, or could we watch The Sopranos or the news or something? And of course, I mean, you can't put up a fight. I mean, look, last night, right? Last night, we just watched First Blood. It's Veterans Day here where we honor all the vets. And so we have this running thing every Veterans Day where we watch First Blood. So we had First Blood up on the TV last night. It was great. But again, like, I want to go watch the special features on the DVD. And so she's like, no. Let's watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or let's watch, one of the other shows. Let's watch something light. It's okay. She's good with it. She's very proud. And she wouldn't change it for anything. She wouldn't.
Well, I'm going to ask now, Mike. I'm going to ask a couple of fantasy fights. You're probably going to ask this all the time, but let's do it, because some of these guys never got to fight in the Rocky movie. So let's say Ivan Drago versus Tommy Gunn.
Drago.
Yeah.
First round
knockout.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. What about Victor Drago from Creed versus Rocky?
Rocky. What Rocky? What Rocky?
Rocky 3, the best one, in my opinion.
I don't know, because if Rocky like Apollo Creed says, 6 or 7 rounds, they got to put them away early or they're going to be out of steam. So, my heart obviously wants to say Rocky, but I don't know that it's clear cut. Drago and Tommy Gunn. Okay. I still say Rocky because I think Rocky would have been trained in a way to win. So let's go with Rocky.
Yeah, I've got a little story actually. I don't know if you'll know about this, but it's about the Creed 2 one. Creed 1. Wade fought the Drago, and the boxing ring that he fights in. That was actually filmed in a boxing ring. I think it was in Romania, the Super Combat ring. Super Combat was a fight promotion like K1 kickboxing, and the promoter Edouard Eremi, I worked with him a little bit on the shows. I brought this guy to England. We'd done like a fight star hunt. At the time, his promotion was huge, and then Edwards, he's the guy that got that like Victor Drago. Can't remember the guy's real name now. He's the one that got in the movie part. I remember him advertising.
Florian Mutton.
That's him. Yeah. He was like some sort of amateur boxer that I remember. And so if you actually look, you can see the footage of the super combat on the ring. If you look, I've actually got some. I'll see if it'll be sound for me to send you, but I'll send you. Edward sent me the screenshots of when he was there making the movie with Sylvester Stallone there, and it was all green screened, and the super combat ring was there, and Victor Drago was in the ring. So he sent me it. So yeah, that's a little interesting story. What do you think the difference between the Creed movies and the Rocky movies? What do you think's different and changed?
Well, the music isn't as good. That's number one. That's number one. The training montages are okay. The first Creed training montage, there was a moment in that was so superior when Rocky and Adonis are hitting the speed bag side by side.
Yeah.
Adonis is all of us that ever wanted to hit the speed bag with Rocky. It's crazy. It's crazy. And now on my tours, we go to that gym and we actually hit those very speed bags.
Yeah.
So I think, although the training montage is good, it's not as good as the Rockies. I thought the fights were done pretty good. I don't have any complaints about the Creed fights. They're fine. I think there's a little bit too much of the whininess. I really dislike the character of Adonis. I don't like much about him at all because he's too much of a whiny baby, and it reminds me of a lot of the younger generation where what's in it for me? What's my legacy? And you compare that to how Rocky did things. Rocky wasn't complaining. He just, he got up and he did it. He went and he did it. I don't know. So I that might be the difference. I don't know how you could characterize it. And I absolutely hated the relationship with Bianca and Adonis. I thought it was horrible. They had no chemistry together, and she was just a horrible character. I couldn't stand her. So
you're not looking forward to Creed 3?
I have no interest in Creed 3, especially if Sylvester's not going to be in it. I could care less what happens to Creed 3.
Yeah.
I promise you, if Stallone isn't in it, I won't see it or talk about it.
Yeah. Let's think of another fight. Clubber Lang versus Tommy Gunn.
I'll go with Clubber Lang. I just don't think Tommy Gunn was that good.
Yeah. What about Clubber Lang, Drago?
Drago.
Clubber Lang, Creed? Apollo.
Oh, Creed. Oh, Apollo Creed.
Apollo Creed.
Oh, definitely. In Apollo's prime.
In Apollo's prime, yeah. What about Adonis Creed versus Clubber Lang?
I think Adonis would probably win. I do, because Clubber Lang wasn't that great of a fighter. He was a brawler.
Yeah.
But Adonis is very well-rounded. He's very well-rounded. So I think Adonis's ring generalship would be superior. Now, that's not to say Clubber Lang wouldn't take Adonis's head off. But I think Adonis would win.
Spider Rico versus Tommy Gunn.
Maybe Tommy Gunn.
The only one. What about Mason Dixon versus Ivan Drago?
Drago. Yeah.
Victor Drago versus Ivan Drago.
Both in their prime?
Yeah.
Ivan Drago. Ivan had the steroid advantage. Yeah.
Rocky 1 versus Rocky 3.
Oh, as far as movie?
Yeah, no. As fighting each other. The characters, the styles.
I go with Rocky 1. Rocky again.
No way. I disagree completely on that.
I know you're a Rocky 3 guy. Well, but you have
Rocky,
to think about it.
he was just a better athlete. He'd have punched his head in.
Well, but you have to do the pros and cons on this, and not that we're going to get too deep on it, but you have to think. Rocky 3, he's sticking and moving, and he's bobbing and weaving, he's moving around. Rocky, okay, he's taking those blows, but he hits you and connects. He's breaking your body. So, I tend to go with that hungry club fighter, Rocky, who really, Rocky 2, Rocky 3. Rocky's even better in Rocky 2.
Rocky 2, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's probably the best training montage, Rocky 2, isn't it?
For some people, not for me, but for some people.
Which one's yours, Rocky 1?
Oh God, yeah.
How many times?
I'm sorry?
How many times have you done the Philadelphia run up the steps? How many times?
Oh, Jesus Christ. At least.
Without stopping?
Well, I've run those steps, and this is no word to lie. I will say somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 times.
Yeah. Shit.
Because you do thousands of tours, right?
Yeah.
And then before that, when I was just a fan, going to Philly, running the steps. So you're doing them all the time, you know?
How many other impersonators are there about when you're doing the Rocky tours?
There's another guy whose name is John Monforto, who is in his mid-60s, and he's about 6'2". He's bald. He looks more like Tony Soprano. But he started doing Rocky back in the 80s. Now, he doesn't look anything like Sylvester Stallone. But the thing about John that's interesting is that he is a world-class entertainer.
Yeah.
He's not a very accurate Rocky, and he does a characterization. His Rocky is more, yo, how you doing? It's too much.
Yeah.
Where mine is more subtle, you know? And but John really paved the way for guys like me. You know, John was doing the Rocky impersonating when no one else did. And then there's 3 or 4 other guys who I don't even know their names. They're not very good. I mean, they're downright horrible, actually. And that's, I mean, you don't need me to tell you that.
Yeah.
Then there's a couple other Rocky tours that are, they're very nice. There's nothing wrong with them. They just don't have the background that I do with them or the connection with Sylvester.
Mike, have you got your hat at hand, the Rocky hat? Because what I want to do, I want to do something that's going to be awesome for any fans out there. So, Mike, you must have a few lines you know from the Rocky movies that stand out the most for you, which are the most coolest you like to do. So now I want you to just do a few of them. What we'll do if we can do it. Let's see how much of a knowledge Rocky fan you are. Let's see if I can make you forget something here. So we're going to go from each movie. I'm going to ask you to do a slight scene from each movie. So we're going to start with Rocky 1. Any part that Rocky says, yeah?
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
Yeah, awesome, man. Rocky 2.
Rocky 2? Yeah? Well, maybe then you got it no more. You ever think of that? Yeah. Now listen to me. You didn't even see that coming. And that was from a broken down bug like me. Well, Mick, I got to be around it.
Number 3.
Let's see.
Do this one. What about this one? Can you do this? Hey, you knock him down. Or why don't you try knocking me down?
Oh my God, but you're jumping ahead. That's Rocky 5.
Is it? Yeah, that's me. Let's do number 3. Number 3 then.
All right, let's see. What can we do from 3?
Where he's arguing with
Paul. Maybe when he's arguing with Paulie in the police station. Friends don't all. They do because they want to do. You're like a crazy brother to me, Paulie. You know that? Shut up. You've been keeping me down. You ain't down. And you ain't a loser. You're just a jealous, lazy bum. Okay, I'm going to break your face. I love how Rocky puts his arms up and he takes the boxer stance. I love that. Yeah. I love that.
What about where he's at the stand with Clubber Lang, and Clubber Lang says, I'll take your pretty self up to my apartment, Adrian.
You want it, you got it, I'll see you in the ring. Great scene.
Yeah, I love that scene. That's
great
awesome.
Scene.
Ooh, number 4.
Let's say Rocky 4. All right, let's see. I'm trying to think of one of the classics. See, again, Rocky 4, there's nothing really classic in that movie that is worth repeating on the level of the other movies. The only thing that really comes to mind, they said they're going to let me go train in Russia because I got to go someplace where I got to think about nothing but him. No, Adrian, I got to do this. Yeah. Fighters. Wait, what does he say? See, even I forget Rocky 4 because it's so low on my list of Rocky movies. It's my least favorite Rocky movie.
Number 5.
Hey, you knocked him down. How about try knocking me down? I love Rocky 5.
Yeah, I love Rocky 5. Rocky 5's easy, it's one of my best. Easy. I love Rocky 5. I just think you see the real character in it, and Adrian as well. Like you see him broken down, don't you? And you see what the business really can be like. Oh
yeah, seriously. I think in Rocky Balboa, I think one of my favorite lines is, "It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done." And to me, I think that is maybe one of the greatest lines ever in any of the Rocky movies. Any movie, really.
There was some mint quotes in the Balboa and a lot in that one. That was like, there was, at the time, lots were going about. Which other ones can we think of Balboa? That was another good movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, Balboa was fantastic.
There were the original, was it Turtles, weren't there? Was it the original Turtles, was it?
It depends. Here's the story on the Turtles. So I know the gentleman that owned Adrian's Pet Shop, J&M Tropical Fish. His name is Joe Marks. And Joe told me that he had the original Turtles, and they never came to him for Balboa or the two Creeds. That the Turtles they used were other Turtles. Now, I don't know if that's true. I just know what he told me. So I put that out there, and you take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. So, Mike, what's next for Mike Kunda? Are we going to see a Pretender 2?
Yeah, we're kind of working on something, not really a Pretender 2, but we'll be talking about a little bit of my follow-up about what's been happening in my life. Me and 2 other guys have been working on something for a little while now, and it's something that's kind of interesting, and I think people will gravitate towards it. I think they'll find it just what anything is possible. No dream is improbable if you keep working towards it. There's no overnight success. There's no pill you can take. You just got to work really hard at what it is you want to do.
So, Mike, how can anyone watch The Pretender and explain like a little bit what it's about? I know people have probably got to know a little bit more about you now, but what is it really about, and how can people watch it, and why did you want to do it as well?
So you can watch The Pretender on Amazon Prime, Venmo is I don't know all the
Venmo,
Venmo's one, Tubi Television. It's on a lot of platforms. You can go to the Pretender website, and it's all there. All the links for all the opportunities that are out there to see it.
Yeah.
The reason we wanted to do it's also on Blu-ray. You can order Blu-rays on Amazon, which is kind of cool. And the reason, once I really started getting into the filming aspect of it and working with the director and his team, I got to a point where I hope people never give up on their passions. If you have something that you want to do, no matter how bizarre that dream or that goal might sound, go for it. It might take you 30 years, but keep trying. Don't let life get in your way. Yes, you have to have a job to pay the bills and so on. I understand that.
Yeah.
But my thing was always, if you were, let's say you wanted to be a basketball player, you want to be a power forward, but when you grow up, you're only like 5'7". Well, that's probably not going to work. But what can you do? Maybe you could be the team doctor, the team management. Maybe you take care of all the equipment. Maybe you're the team trainer. Maybe you're going to come up with the best basketball plays in the world, better than anybody's ever seen. And this is how you can be part of. I wanted to be Rocky, right? That's all I wanted to be. But I couldn't be Rocky. I tried boxing. Boxing wasn't for me. Sylvester Stallone is Rocky. But what could I do? Oh, I could be a Rocky impersonator. I could run these tours. So whatever tools you have in your toolbox, be very aware of what you can be. And that's kind of the message behind the Pretender, I think, you know?
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, I love what you do. Mike, I just want to give a shout out to one of my friends who sent me some coffee, Seconds Out coffee beans. So what I'm going to do, Mike, I'm going to try and get my friend to send you some of these over. I know you like drinking the coffee, so I'm going to get some of these. Awesome, nice smelling coffee in the studio. But yeah, it looks amazing. The packaging's nice. But yeah, I'm going to get Gaz from Seconds Out to send some of that over. Also, guys, this podcast is sponsored by the Jab Cross Hoop Game. I've just been telling Mike about this, so I'm going to be sending you one of these out as well, Mike, so you can play this game.
I love it.
So,
thank you.
Yeah. But Mike, it's been great having you on the show. And it's interesting as always, just getting to know you more and answering the questions. And like I'll say it again, like I love how you just be yourself. You've gone after your own dreams. And if anyone can take anything away from this podcast, it's that don't care what anybody else thinks of you. Don't care how anybody might think about what you do. And it's not really important. What matters is how you see yourself and what you want to do in your own life. So massive, massive respect to you for that, Mike. Because I think you're doing amazing, and I think you'll help a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there who think he's a fucking wacko, but
I think I'm a wacko. I think I'm a wacko. Believe me.
But it's good. I'm looking forward to seeing the Pretender too. But guys, I really urge you to watch the Pretender movie. You'll see Mike in a massive different light. So I must admit, when I first watched it, I thought, is this guy a bit of a weirdo? And then I started watching it, and yeah, you are different, but I like people that are different. And I like people who aren't scared to be themselves. So
it's difficult in this world. It's difficult.
It's difficult. Yeah, because everyone feels like the judge. Two people are scared to do this, are scared to say anything. So I'm one of them people as well who just be myself, just go out and do what I want to do. I don't give a shit what people really think. So I just want to do the best I can in life, and hopefully have no regrets. So when I get older, yeah, I'll make mistakes, and so do we all. But that's part of life. That's how we learn, and that's how we get better, and that's how we achieve more things. So you're doing an amazing job, Mike. Smashing it.
Thank you.
The almost Rocky Balboa. But yeah, is there any messages you want to put out, Mike? Any before we leave?
Just everybody keep punching, be safe with coronavirus, mask up, use common sense, and let's try to just be a little kinder to each other.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been great, Mike. Oosh. See you later, my friend.
Thank you.